Hello and welcome to the B Button episode 42. I'm your host Baron Marf and I'm joined as always by the legend himself, the one and the only Angry Link. How are you doing, buddy?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Pretty good.
Been a big week this week, hasn't it?
Yeah, not for news in a broad sense.
No, just
very... for one big megaton.
Fuck ton of Nintendo news, yeah. So, I mean, gaming-wise, you been doing much this week?
Failing miserably at the Criminal Mastermind Challenge. Finally beaten. Well, we didn't beat it. We are beaten.
By it?
Yeah. So that was a bit of a struggle.
Those who don't know, I mean, I know we touched on this last week, and there's a wry grin on my face right now, the fact that a week later you're like, we tried and we failed. But this is basically do all the heists in order without dying.
Yeah, same team
from beginning to end, and you get Criminal Mastermind and basically 15 million.
Yeah, I think that's because obviously if you haven't got the doing it all with the same team bonus and then all in order bonus as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a complete ball ache, especially when you've got one person on there that's never done the heists.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
No, it didn't.
Right.
Sadly, so yeah, we put that on the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
I think the plan was just basically just to get the lad that had never done them, just get him through the heist so he knows what's coming.
Yeah.
Because it's never easy knowing or not knowing what's ahead. Because at least then when you've got an idea, you can at least do something and there's no surprises. But, it's not too... I wasn't too fussed. I mean, I'd had a fair bit of cash anyway. And for the sake of smacking my head against a wall repeatedly, that was the repeated attempts.
Not worth it.
No, I couldn't be asked.
Fair enough.
Yeah, quit while I was massively behind. But, that's the way of it. But other than that, I haven't really had much chance to do much of the gaming, unfortunately. But, hopefully the week ahead's a bit better.
Cool. So I've been hitting up, guess what?
Gears.
It's all about Gears of War 4 and Horde. Fuck me, am I thrashing that at the moment? I mean, just hammering it. All of my different classes, all above level 3, most of them above level 5. I am hammering that game massively at the moment. Just can't encourage people enough to get on it. In fact, I tried encouraging you to get on it.
Yeah.
You weren't interested in the least.
No, not at all. It's one of those things. I played through the games, the first 3.
It's horses for courses, isn't it? It's either your thing or it ain't,
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those that my mate was playing through the single player and it was like, well, do you want to control it? It's like, yeah, may as well.
Yeah.
And just play through the single player. I mean, I enjoyed that, but I
don't need it in my life. Yeah.
No, it's one of those that I don't really get. I've got enough games that draw enough of my time as it is. I don't need another one. So, it's one of those. It's a bit disappointing for you because obviously I know you'd like to get us involved. But
yeah, leave me alone, high and dry. I'm not bitter about it. Do you know what I've been hitting up? Mother Russia Bleeds.
Have you finished it?
No, still not finished it. I keep going back and replaying it because I just didn't love smashing people's faces in. I should finish it, but I can't help myself. But yeah, only occasionally, Cryoman comes round, we have a bit of Mother Russia Bleeds, but yeah, very, very good, great game. But anyway, let's get straight to the nitty-gritty on this. This podcast, we're switching it up this week.
Oh, don't. There's enough of that in the presentation.
I mean, right, so just for the folks who are listening, we're not doing our standard format, the usual Bullet Bill's Big 3, What's the Beef Chief, Uncharted. This is effectively a massive Uncharted. We're just piling all the way through all of the Switch news. Obviously, there's a big announcement or big presentation this week. We had a lot more details around the Switch, so we're just going to cut through that. But as you just touched on, Link, I think I watched probably 10 minutes of the presentation and was sick of the word Switch already. Everybody's like, let's switch over to here and switch to this and switch to that.
But I think we touched on it earlier, didn't we? I'd imagine that's more of a response to because the confusion that was around the Wii U, and obviously the people that knew video games and knew what they're talking about knew what the Wii U was, but the common man or woman or person or child.
It's a tablet.
Yeah, they didn't realise what the Wii U was, and they never really got a clear message across to the consumer. So I think this is a bit more of a concerted effort to make sure that they drum in.
Tell them what you told them, and then tell them again, and then tell them and tell them. I mean, stop. I mean, all I can say is the only notes I noted was stop saying the fucking word Switch. So that kind of summarises it.
Yeah. And I think the only time you want to hear the word Switch is when it's aligned with Blade.
Yeah, exactly that. So look, let's cut straight into it. A little bit about the console itself. We've learned a lot about console, accessories, games, launch window, lineup, all of that sort of jazz. But for me, it's the biggest question of all. When is this thing coming out?
Well, they were right with obviously Nintendo themselves said it'd be March.
Yeah.
Bang on, 3rd of March worldwide release.
See, always whenever anybody says to, it will happen in the holidays or fall or whatever, I always assume right at the end, because that's when they usually sort of shoehorn it into, is just, we got it in the quarter,
This is the last possible moment we can get away with saying it's in this time frame. Yeah.
But we spent a lot of last year going, oh God, what's going on the Switch? What is it? We just want to know. And we didn't even know the name of it. Like, what is this thing? We just want to know about it. The NX, And then lo and behold, when it did come out, Nintendo kept it so close to their chest, just so they can go, whammy, here's what it is, and by the way, it's out in a month and a half.
Yeah. I think that's the best way. We said that with the Pro as well, wasn't it? It was great, you've released it and it's out in a month.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. And I think personally it's the
way forward.
I do believe though, because you look at the way that Fallout, when that was announced, it was like, alright, it's out in 2 months. Here's loads of info, because we've got a lot finished, and it's not like, going back to, again, I'm going to digress a bit, but with the Bioshock Infinite, where they said, oh, this is what it's going to be about, and the first reveal was nothing like the actual game.
Yeah.
So it's good that it's a solid set of info, it's finalised, we can tell you with some degree of confidence that this is exactly how it's going to be, and I applaud it.
What about price point? What we're looking at money wise?
So $299.99, so $300. It's 29,980 yen, which again is about $300, and it's £280,
which is about
$300.
Yeah, or at least it is. Yeah, the gaming exchange rate.
Well, there is obviously the old UK exchange rate, which basically gets a stiff hard one in the backside. But
it's 1-to-1, even though it's always close.
Obviously, the whole Brexit scenario is kind of, I think, bumped that up a little bit as well.
Yeah,
so
maybe.
The exchange rate is terrible for us at the moment.
Bait, yeah. So Nintendo are wading into all aspects of their system. One of the points that they touched upon was that they're changing up their online service a bit.
You mean they're actually going to have one?
Well, I mean, they kind of do have one at the moment. You can obviously shop online. There are games like Splatoon where you can play online, Mario and such like. But this is changing up a bit. What are they doing?
Well, obviously, they've been working with DNA, the Japanese mobile company or mobile developer, to, I think, get it working and have some kind of actual service. Obviously, they are now doing their own version of a pay service. So that will be starting in autumn of 2017.
Yeah.
So up until then, it will be free or a trial period. So there's a few details about it.
Do we know the price point?
No, there's no real confirmation on prices. Other than we know that you're going to have a monthly rental or of a NES or a SNES game or a classic game. Again,
so it's like Games with Gold?
Yeah, but you only keep it for a month. So obviously they were saying it's a free game, but again, I've changed that to a monthly rental.
So in other words, what they're saying is, we'll let you try it for a month, try and hook you in, and then we want more of your money.
Yeah, so once you've got half decent amount of the way through it and you want to finish it to find how it finishes, give you some money.
And is this like, all third-party titles and stuff?
No, I would imagine it's just going to be virtual console stuff.
So, as we know, it's based just on sort of Nintendo IP, effectively. These guys are, once again, if you look at the business model, and I'm going off a little bit on a tangent, but you look at the business model they're putting together, what they're saying is, we've got this IP, we don't pay anybody to use this because this is our IP, and we're going to let you try it, and then you can buy some more of it.
Yeah.
So they're doing the PlayStation Plus or the games with gold thing without actually giving you the games or without having any of the cost from the third parties.
Yeah. Well, they are going to obviously have a few extra online elements, I think, to all of the games that will be featured on there. I think will be playable multiplayer if there is multiplayer online. I'm not too sure. I can't confirm that. There wasn't really any major detail around it. But yeah, that's pretty much the crux of it. So there's going to be a few minor improvements to maybe online leaderboards or some various other thing like that. But other than that, we don't really know.
Well, we'll see what this service turns into. But I've got a feeling, out of all, I have PlayStation Plus, I have games, I have my gold membership. I don't see myself putting my hand in my pocket for the Nintendo version.
But if you want to obviously play online, then you're going to have to.
Yeah, so like I said, I don't see myself putting my hand in my pocket for that.
In defence of it, how many of the Games with Gold games or PlayStation Plus games do you actually play and finish?
Right, let's get something right. The only reason why I have PlayStation Plus and Games with Gold is because I'm a kleptomaniac.
Yeah.
I don't play them.
Just keep them.
Well, I probably already bought them.
Yeah. How annoying is it when you go through and you're like, Games of Gold owned or purchased.
Yeah. Damn it. So let's move a little bit away from the online service now and talk a little bit more about the console itself. Effectively, the Switch is trying to offer. I had a variety of play styles, but really it's 3. So what are they?
Well, we've got the first one, which is TV mode, and obviously that's just as a normal standard home console. So it's plugged into the telly, you've got your controller in your hand, you're sat in with your margarita or whatever you like to drink whilst you play.
Baby Sham.
Yeah, and then it's just a standard normal home console. Then you've got tabletop mode, which obviously you can take the console from the dock, pop it on a telly with a little kickstand, and maybe use the controller or
just like on a table.
Yeah. So you could then be outside, blah blah blah.
So it's like a standalone TV.
Yeah, basically. I think it's just the extension of what they were trying with the Wii U gamepad.
You're right. Okay.
And then you've got the handheld, which is then
chuck your Joy-Cons on the side, treat it like a widescreen DS, basically.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Okay, so just thinking a little bit more about the usability of it when it is handheld or when it is out and about, we move on to battery life and battery generally. So what are we looking at here?
Well, the figures that Nintendo have put forward is from the lowest point, they reckon 2.5 hours. And that's to 6 hours, but that's dependent on the graphical draw and the CPU draw.
What the fuck, man? I mean, seriously, Zelda, that's going to probably really push this thing. They've said, 3 hours?
About 3 hours.
3 hours of game time. If you think you've picked this console up, you've put it in your bag, you're travelling somewhere, you've got a day commute to get to somewhere, you're travelling. For me, when I take my DS somewhere, I take it because I've got a very long journey where I'm going to be sat in places for a long period of time, bored out my fucking skull, and I want something to play. That is a really, really short battery life.
Yeah. But the good news is there's a lot of companies that make power packs.
Yeah, true.
They're really, really large and have got lots of charge in them. So, there is that.
Yeah, great. I look forward to putting my money in some dodgy third-party product. So, I mean, do you think that's a reasonable battery life yourself? Where are you with it?
I don't know. I mean, when we're talking about issues with batteries recently, I'd rather they stick with a safe and solid battery that works and doesn't explode. So I'll take this. It's not ideal, but it's better than it exploding in your hand. True.
For me, I think it said a lot that when Nintendo was talking about the unit themselves, they basically said, and you can even plug it in and charge it whilst you play. It's like, no shit, I'm going to have to pretty regularly.
Yeah.
But they did do something about the charging, which for me, I was gobsmacked at this because Nintendo are all about proprietary product.
Yeah.
And they've mixed it up, haven't they?
Yeah, it's just standard USB-C. So it's all obviously the new major format that everyone's going with. Obviously mobiles are doing it. Obviously you've got a Chromebook. Apple have taken up USB-C as well. So, it's good that they haven't gone with an inferior, really, really cheap one that's somewhat forward-thinking for once, because it's not something that you generally attribute to Nintendo.
And fuck me, they've put the charger in there as well. You
I know.
can actually charge this thing.
Yeah.
I'm used to buy. I mean, the last 3 DSs that I've had haven't come with their charger.
But yeah, I think that the only saving grace they've had with that is the fact that they've all used the same port. So they haven't done an Apple and gone, oh yeah, we've sort of realised that, you know, we could make some more money out of you by having to make you buy another series of plugs and
100%
whistles.
Right. But do you know what? For me, when I buy an upgraded version of a piece of technology that I already have, I don't stockpile technology. I flog it, or I get rid of it, or do something with it, and I get to go to somebody else and say, "Hey, this DS came with a charger, but not for you."
Yeah, I hope you've got one.
Yeah. So I mean, that was quite surprising to me. So, let's talk a little bit about the screen, and you know, what are we looking at here? What does it do? What is it?
Well, it's a 6.2 inch 720p capacitive or multi-touch capacitive touchscreen. So it's a pretty standard sort of tablet screen.
So does that mean 2 fingers touch screen or multi-capacitive?
I think it's... I don't think they went on how many touch or how many inputs it can handle, but if it's a standard, most of them are around sort of 10. You can do 10 inputs essentially on a lot of the screens nowadays. So I would imagine it's probably something very similar.
And you know, 720p for a handheld device of that size seems more than adequate. I think.
All of the hands-on that I've read from a few of the gaming websites have all sort of said, you know, it's vibrant, it pops, it's a lovely looking screen. It doesn't diminish it in any way that it's only 720. I mean, hell, your eyes can't distinguish any different from that fucking size. So it's like all of this quad HD mobile phone screens is a complete waste of fucking money.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm glad, because that will then obviously help keep the costs down.
And Nintendo love to keep the cost down.
Oh yes, well they can't. They obviously nobody buys the games because there aren't any, so they have to make the money from them somehow.
Yeah, exactly that. So moving on to our right. So first things first, the controllers themselves, the bit which, you know, we've all seen the docking station that the 2 little controllers sit in, and then obviously you can put them on either side of the screen. They're called Joy-Cons.
Joy-Cons,
right?
Yes.
What do you think of the name, first of all?
I don't like No, I don't really like it.
No, nor do I. Do you know, one of the things that they touched on in the presentation, they said that obviously you can take off the Joy-Cons and pass one to the person next to you and play multiplayer. We call that sharing the joy.
Yeah. It's one of those, you know that someone's come up with, you know, we need a way to share the joy of gaming with someone, and then it's like, we need to shoehorn that into the name for the controller. So it's a Joy controller, Joy-Con, sold. Fuck it, that took us months. That was good. Yeah, no, it is a bit cringy and like you say,
retching over it. What about the size of the controller? Were you surprised by it at all? I mean, obviously, I'm talking about not only the Joy-Cons themselves, but when they sit in the docking, the grip. What do you think?
I think when it's, like you say, all attached to the Joy-Con grip, and then obviously attached to the console itself or the tablet itself, is not too bad. But the one that I've got, the trepidation I've got, is when you are using them as a separate controller. It's like the little mini SNES controller. It does seem a bit small.
Too small.
Yeah. I mean, do you remember the Game Boy Micro?
Do indeed.
Well, they actually put it alongside that, and it's around the same sort of size.
Whoa, that is diddy.
Yeah, so they are quite small.
Well, I watched the person who was presenting at the time hold the Joy-Cons in the Joy-Con grip, or what the fuck it's called, and when they were holding it, it was the width of the 4 fingers that he had at the top of it, and I thought, that is really small. You can, I mean, if you pick up your Xbox or PlayStation controller, it's almost half the width.
Yeah, you're sort of talking, I think it's around sort of 5-6 inches wide, isn't it? There.
Diddy thing.
But from what I've read, a lot of people have said it's actually really comfortable to use. It's not. It looks small, but it doesn't feel small. It just feels quite comfortable to use as well.
Most important question of the podcast. Ready? Does it still look like a sad dog's face to you when it's in the grip?
A slightly lopsided one, yes.
Okay. Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about, you know, what the layout is of the, you know, what's the button config? What have we got on there?
Well, like I was saying before, it's if you was to take the face buttons and all of the features of a SNES controller, obviously not the look, but you got your 4 face buttons, your 2 shoulder buttons, and obviously replacing the D-pad with an analog stick, and that's pretty much it. Obviously there is the click on the analog stick as well. So it's a fairly standard sort of retro controller.
But we've got no D-pads.
No.
That's quite a bold manoeuvre in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I first saw the controller itself, I went, the right one, right there, that's got a D-pad on it, although it's stupidly small. It's the plus button.
Yeah, no, Marv, that is the plus button, yes.
Yeah. And look, they've got a dash button as well. No, that's a minus.
Yeah. They've got a D-pad with only 2 directions.
And there's a square button which does nothing. Yeah. So we've got our typical YXBA. On the left side, we've also got some buttons as well, obviously, to make that functional as a controller.
Yes, obviously they've removed what would normally be a D-pad,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously so you can then use it as a second controller, or a first controller, whichever one you want to prefer. They've also got the 4 face buttons to, obviously, again, to use as a D-pad if needs be, because, I mean, let's face it, most of the games nowadays, if you're using the D-pad, it's generally as like a weapon select or something like that, so for me, it's not a great miss.
D-pad, the other day, in fact, yesterday, I was sat with a friend of mine doing some gaming, and I watched him input, he was just basically logging in on Xbox. I watched him input his password, not watching what he was putting in, but just how he was doing it. And he did something that I found really alien. I didn't realise how automatic it was for me to do it. He was using the analog to move around the letters.
Ugh.
And I was like,
what a freak!
That's what the D-pad's for.
You want that click, 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 click.
But I won't embarrass the person by saying their name, Cryman. But it didn't seem right to me.
What's wrong with him?
So, I mean, do you think there's enough on the face of the controller to be functional? I know we've got some concerns about the size, but generally, do you think there's enough there?
Yeah, because to be honest, most of the games that you're going to be playing with people, I mean, we saw a couple. I don't think there's going to be much need for it. If there is, you've got the Pro Controller. I think if you want that D-pad combination, you've still got the Pro Controller. Obviously, you're going to have to spend, because it is quite expensive.
Oh, yeah.
You know, everyone's chucking their controllers out at 60 quid nowadays, so why can't Nintendo?
Whammy! There it is. So there's a bit more than just the layout. There's some more features going on.
Well, yeah. I think they need to do something to warrant the prices of them, because they are rather pricey for the pair.
Well, how pricey are they?
Well, they are £75 for a right and left Joy-Con.
Oh my! So what does that turn into with dollars?
$75.
No, London's gaming exchange rate is ridiculous. Can I just also go on the record to say, evidently, here in Europe, we're doing a lot better than the rest of the world, because you're hammering us on prices and we're still buying it. So,
if you need to buy a whole Joy-Con grip setup, that's over £100 odd.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like 20 odd quid for the grip, but then it does charge it as well. So.
But the one thing I would say is fuck off.
I'll plug the bastard in. Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
No, but they have got some little gubbins in them.
So what's going on?
So we've got the right Joy-Con. There is an NFC reader. Obviously.
Wait. So right and left aren't identical?
No.
Okay.
So yeah, like I was saying, the right Joy-Con, you've got an NFC writer and reader, obviously for Amiibo support.
Yep.
And it also, which the one that really surprised me is it's got an IR reader, IR camera in it, which can read basic shape and distance. Obviously, this was highlighted by the chap basically said it could recognise rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
So the differences between your hand motions with that.
That really surprised me, because it's such a small device to have that level of functionality.
I was really intrigued by, again, how that could be used in future, because I think that could be given some creative chaps and ladies that work in the development community, they could potentially do some really cool stuff with that.
Recognition of shape was cool, but quite basic. But recognition of distance, I thought, what will they do with that? I mean, it's interesting. I'm not saying they won't come up with anything. That's just like, wow, that's Nintendo getting innovative again.
It's one of those, it just opens up possibilities, because I remember we were talking about when the DS and some of the crazy bits that you'd do with the DS that you're like, oh my god, that's blown my fucking mind.
Yeah, the example that you gave earlier on
was Hotel Dusk, and there's a puzzle in there where you have to close the DS.
Yeah.
And it took me fucking hours, because I'm like, you can't move them. You can't move them off the top screen. How do I move them? And I've closed the fucking thing, gone off, made a cup of tea or whatever, come back, I've opened it up, it's like, they've moved. How did that happen?
You pressed it.
Oh my god!
Screen to screen, yeah.
And it just blew my fucking mind. That did.
Yeah, Nintendo are great for coming up with those sort of like very novel experiences that you just don't find anywhere else.
Let's just hope that they're utilised.
Yeah, I really do. So, there's more going on.
Yeah, obviously you've got the left Joy-Con, and it's got its capture button. Obviously, it's only screenshots at the moment.
Yeah,
but there will, I would imagine, be YouTube support later.
Well, they're saying
not that anyone would want to put Nintendo videos up on their YouTube account because it just means Nintendo makes more money.
They said you will capture screenshots initially, but they'll be able to capture video in the future. And I just thought, what, you couldn't get that right now? And will this be like the TV or Wii TV option, which is on the Wii U, which just was never made?
Just dead in the water.
Yeah, we don't have that sort of funding. This thing's bombing.
I don't know. I think it's one of those that if the community demands, they'll do it. If there's no one gives a shit, then they're like, that's right, that's off the hook. We don't care. Yeah. People have got capture cards. Who gives a shit?
So what about physical inputs on these things? I mean, what else can they do?
Well, they've got gyroscopic sensors and accelerometers. So they've basically little Wii remotes.
Yeah. So they can read tilt and they can read how drastic the movement is.
Yeah, you've got tilt, pitch, and yaw. Obviously, that's your directions. Then obviously the accelerometer can then the acceleration and velocity and speed and whatnot.
So that's cool. It's good to have that functionality in. I mean, I noticed that they were also talking about, and I'm not sure whether this was you actually put the tablet screen bit in or whether you put the controllers in. They're doing an accessory which is like a steering wheel, which is where they're trying to get the Mario Kart elements in.
It's just you pop the little Joy-Con in half or one of the halves. And yes, just pretty much the same as the Wiimote.
Just reading accelerometer, yaw, and all that good stuff and pitch. Yeah. Okay, cool. What else?
Well, you've got some additional grips, which for use whilst it's a motion controller. So it slides in and it covers all not sharp edges, but the jagged edges on the back. So it's a bit easier to hold in the hand and a bit more comfortable. Which come with straps, thankfully, so you won't throw your Joy-Con through your telly.
Do you know what? When I saw these straps that they're putting in, which have obviously the sliding bar, which covers off, like I said, the teeth that lock into the device. I was actually really excited about these because they brought something to the table which I was concerned we were sorely missing on them.
Yeah.
And that was?
Like protruding shoulder buttons, and it looks like it will actually be a bit more comfortable to hold as a separate controller then as well, so it gives it a bit more mass and size. So, this looks good. So
for me, I saw that and I was like, right, now I've got an analog, I've got my 4 buttons, and I've got 2 actual functional usable shoulder buttons.
Yeah, not ones where you're going to have to go, where is it again?
Yeah, and let me just push my finger into that hole to get it.
Yeah.
So the second I saw that, I was like, nailed it. Now we've got a full controller.
I don't need toddler fingers.
Yeah, well, I do, but I'll work around it, you know. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Really, really happy with that. What else? I mean, the one thing which kind of threw me the most, and this is the biggie, is
HD Rumble.
HD Rumble. So wait. So Sony have done Rumble. It was Nintendo who started this. They had the Rumble pack on the Nintendo 64. Yeah. Everybody, if you ever owned a Nintendo 64 controller, which was the most batshit wackiest fucking controller on the planet,
but still, I reckon for me personally, it's still the nicest controller to hold.
It worked. I give it that. But analog was bait. Camera buttons was just fucking weird. But anyway, all that aside, the one thing they said, we come up with a Rumble pack, and it's like, that's amazing and that's really cool. I'm playing GoldenEye and I'm shooting things and I'm getting force feedback and all of that was great for about 2 weeks, and then I had to jam like a 5p in there. I think was the classic one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, so HD Rumble, I'm digressing massively. What's the difference? So Sony have done it, Xbox have done it, copying Nintendo. Rumble is Rumble. And I know that, in the Elite controller, they said, we've done something a bit more clever and, we've put it in the triggers. But what's the difference about HD Rumble?
I do not notice any difference between an Xbox 360 controller's Rumble and the fucking one controller's Rumble. I really don't.
I notice on the triggers, I feel that, but once you get accustomed to it, you just glaze over and it's Rumble.
It's just one of those things that you just don't ever notice.
It's a Rumble input, yeah. But this is HD Rumble, high definition Rumble. What's that about?
Well, the way they described it and illustrated it on screen was you can feel how many ice cubes there are in a glass.
So if the controller's a glass...
Yeah, you can feel that something's been dropped in it. and then another one's been added, and that feels different and it rumbles different.
When you shake it, yeah.
Yeah, and then again, if you had a third one, it rumbles different still, and then you can still feel that there's water being poured in there.
Yeah, so this, I mean, I think this is going to be, let's press the test, let's feel it. You won't know until it's in your hands. But the whole idea that something would insinuate that there's mass being added to it, I can't get my head around that.
No.
But I don't disbelieve Nintendo the type of people to be able to deliver it.
I think I was reading somewhere that, again, obviously it's been hands-on events for journos and games magazines and other websites. And someone was chatting about there was a mini game where you had to try and guess how many ball bearings there were in something.
Right.
And you sort of find out by rolling it around and feeling the rumble. So, I mean,
cool.
I think it could work. I hope it is something that they have... they haven't oversold like they did with the Wiimotes originally, which you still needed the plus bit for it to actually be good.
Yeah, this is the thing. They say, hey, look what we can do. And this is, and we'll touch on this later on, but generally there is always this thing that whenever I watch presentations like this and you get the paid actors up there who all just, their lives are so happy, everything's so great, and they've just got an infinite budget to go out and buy colours of clothing which match the background for them all to stand there in their sailors' outfits or their school uniform, and it's all just bollocks. It's absolute bullshit. They never show any gameplay. They never show any reality of the situation. They just go, you'll be able to play ping pong with your mates and all that, and then when push comes to shove, you're sat on your sofa wiggling a bit of plastic in your hand trying to just flap at a on-screen ping pong ball. Nothing like what they demonstrate.
No.
And that's exactly what we saw this year. I'm sure they're going to do it again. They won't let me down. But hey, we've got colours on these things.
Yes, there are colours and straps.
What colours?
Neon blue and neon red.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd have muted the red a bit and the blue, so it was a bit more of a...
richer colour, maybe.
Yeah, more saturated and less pow.
Yeah.
I think I'd be a bit more intrigued. Or if I could buy 2 red ones or 2 blue ones, it would work really well with the black. But the fact that you've got the right one's red and then the left one's blue... it just looks like you've lost one, and it's the only colour you could find. When
I looked at this, do you know what I thought? I thought, actually, it looks like you've got halfway down the development of this thing and you're producing it, and then somebody said, hey, actually, we could probably do colours pretty cheap.
We've got some red left over.
Do you want us to use that blue out the back? And they went, yeah, start hammering them out. So they start producing them. They went... now stick them on the screen. Oh, it doesn't look great. Fuck it, sell it. And that's the options. Right now you can, because, we both had a little journey today.
Yeah.
I went and put my deposit down on a Switch. And the guy said to me, do you want the red and blue ones? And I went, fuck no.
I think the required response, do you want me to kick you in the nuts?
No.
Square in the nuts.
In the nuts. Yeah, I mean, I immediately just thought, do you know what, if I want some wacky colours or something, I'll buy it later. But right now, I want my console to look the same as the controller colours and all that. So, yeah, not so sure about that.
But I think we saw, obviously, on one of the other websites looking at the accessories, you'll be able to get covers for stuff. So, if you want to jazz it up a bit, then there'll be a better complete option with covers.
Yeah.
For me personally, anyway.
Yeah.
But HD Run will look really cool. Hoping to get that and see how that actually pans out and see if it actually works.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm really interested. That's one of the key features for me, which I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
Over.
You can actually that might actually be worth the money now.
Yeah, I mean, every time I feel that rumble, I'll be like, is this rinsing the battery on my device?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on from the controllers, and there are some other accessories out there. Like I said, the steering wheel. Maybe go have a look at them, but nothing major right now.
There's loads of stuff out on the pre-order. If you go to any retailer or games retailer, then generally you'll find all what's about.
I'm really looking forward to all the So in the UK, one of the main stores which sells video games is Game, and I can't wait for them to start knocking out all their cheap, shitty pap which you plug into it. Priced at like $19.99, worth about $1.99 of material, and fuck all on an actual value level.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see what shit they come up with. Let's bust on over to some software now. So one of the first bits of software that they showed was 1, 2, Switch.
Yes.
What the fuck is this?
Well, obviously Nintendo, when they go with their batshit wacky consoles, which they are doing now. That's all they do. They'd like to have a little pack-in. Well, it's not a pack-in, but a little game or compilation of games that shows you what some of the things you can do with the console.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this one has gone completely batshit.
Yeah.
Because it's a compilation of games where you face off against people, obviously each with a Joy-Con.
Yeah.
But not on the screen.
So, sorry, you mean as in like not on the TV?
No, not on any screen whatsoever.
What? Not on the handheld. Not when it's plugged into the screen. You're not looking at the screen at all.
Nope, you are looking at the person dead in the eye.
There's a lot of push on this, wasn't there?
Yeah.
So, how does that work?
So basically, the level is your surroundings.
Right.
None of the games actually feature any gameplay on the screen, other than maybe a commentator shouting fire. Obviously, we saw there was a ping pong, or table tennis. Then you had a Western.
Yeah, exactly. It's a
Shootout.
gunfight. Yeah,
That's the one.
And the gunfight. Just we're a little bit off subject here, but you and I independently watched this, and we both thought exactly the same thing. The gunfight you have on the left, a John Wayne-esque sort of hard-worn lone.
He was the old Sergio Leone, man with no name, lone stranger,
spaghetti
I'm gonna
western.
fuck you up.
Yeah, I'm gonna come in. I'm not gonna say much. I'm gonna kill everyone.
And I'm gonna squint and talk out of the side of my mouth.
Yeah. So we had that guy. We also had a fat bearded guy on the right who looked like a bad guy.
Yeah. If it was an old school Western, you'd have had the white hat and the black hat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we were waiting for that fat boy to get dropped, and lo and behold, he dicked the other guy.
Yeah.
So how this is supposed to work is it went like, in theory, it's like 3, 2, 1, and then they both draw.
Yeah. And obviously it's the first to trigger.
Hit the trigger whilst pointing at the person. But then one of the controllers will rumble to tell you that you copped it, basically.
Yeah. I think it's an intriguing concept.
Yeah.
I think it shouldn't be a paid game, personally. I think it should be packed in with the console.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's no fucking way I'm buying this. They didn't really show what else they could come up with. And all I looked at it and I went, shovelware, shovelware, shovelware.
The killer app for it for me is the milking the cow game.
Yeah, rinse those udders.
But it's one of those. Everyone thought the same thing of Wii Play, and that was still one of my favourite games on the Wii.
As Robert De Niro said in Meet the Parents, I've got nipples, Greg. Can you milk me?
Yes, just not your nipples.
Do you see this having any value, this game whatsoever?
No, because obviously the only reason why, obviously talking back to Wii Play, the only reason why I bought Wii Play is because you got a controller with it.
Yeah.
So it's just like, another controller, and I get a game.
Yeah.
And it had one of the best games on the console with tanks. That was fucking unbelievable. I love that game.
Tanks was solid, so was the air hockey.
Yeah, that was
solid.
Brilliant. That was a good game.
But, the actual in-game with the system of the Wii was Wii Sports, where you had Wii Boxing, which was pretty good actually.
Yeah.
Started off sitting there thinking, this isn't really reflecting my movement, but once you understood what you had to do, you could hammer the shit out of people. Yeah. I fucking batted a lot of people on Wii Boxing. And then Wii Bowling as well, which was literally the best game on the Wii. It was just the best game. Fuck the Plus version in the the next variation they did a Wii Sports Resort.
Wii Sports Resort, yeah.
Yeah, no, the original one was the best. But anyway, we digressed a little bit. So it looks like shovelware to me, really not fussed about it.
But I think ultimately we want to wait until you've had a chance to, hopefully somebody else will buy it so you can play it.
Muggins.
Yeah.
The thing for me, which kind of says a lot about whether it's likely to be a good game or not, the guy who presented it was the Nintendo Switch General Director. Which everybody kind of had a Switch Director title actually, so I don't know how it works, but his name was, and you have to excuse the pronunciation here, Koichi Kuwamoto.
Kuwamoto.
Something close to that. Yeah. And he explained that obviously being a Nintendo Switch General Director, I was sitting there thinking, well, how much time have you spent on this game then? And it kind of looked a bit like that. So all the images that I particularly liked, so, and you pointed this out to me, it's like, at the bottom of the screen, it was like nobody was actually using. It was the controllers themselves. So it was like the two cowboys pointing at each other, the bloke and the woman, and they're just pointing their fingers at
It's just cosplay.
finger banging each other, right? And then the next,
who's going to make dinner? You.
yeah, exactly. Then the next one up was what, table tennis, and it was just people who had table
tennis rackets.
Yeah,
and there was the kendo fight with actual fucking swords,
Yes.
wooden swords.
Nobody's actually playing the game. All right, so let's shift on to a slightly more interesting game, Arms.
Yes.
So, this is something a little bit different. Can you talk us through it? What's it about?
Well, I looked at it as an updated Wii boxing.
Yeah, I can see that.
So obviously you've got a traditional sort of boxing pose. So you've got a 2-on-2 fight. You've got the Joy-Cons in each hand.
So you use 2 per person.
Yep. And then instead of just having like fists, you've got like springs on your arms. So you're firing it across the arena, and obviously using the Joy-Cons to sort of aim and shift, and you can then sort of give it a hook and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, what did catch my interest in this particular game was more about the functionality that they were giving to the controllers. So you hold them, like you said, in both hands in a sort of a thumbs up position, and your thumb goes on the shoulder bit, so they're slightly turned, they're not facing straight at you, they're facing sideways, and you use the shoulder buttons to either jump or to dash.
Yeah.
And the thing which kind of did it for me was I saw the person just very slowly or very gently just moving their hand forward, not a great deal, and the punches were going flying across the room, and then they were leaning it left or right to put some twist on it, and I thought, that actually looks like that's working quite sensitively, where if you go back to your Wii boxing days, it was hammer it to really tell it what you're trying to do.
Basically, or you'd sit there and you'd sort of use it like you would drumsticks.
Yeah.
And you just absolutely hammer it, and you're just watching this guy going absolutely crazy on screen.
Yeah. So it looks like it might have a level of control or nuance that actually allows a bit more finer gameplay.
Yeah, well, I think that, like you say, the technology that's gone into the Joy-Cons with the accelerometers and the gyroscopes is obviously a lot better than what went into the Wiimotes.
So does this game interest you at all?
I don't know. I mean, it looks like it offers a bit more depth than Wii Boxing, but not a lot for me.
What about longevity?
I don't know. I think it's one of those games that you'd play for half an hour, you'd be fucked.
Yeah.
And absolutely sweating buckets because, I'm an unfit as fuck bastard.
I looked at it and I was like, okay, it's arena fighting. I could see you could punch with one, punch with both hands. You can lean left and right. You can jump the punches. When you've done enough, you can hit a super move to just hammer them. And I was like, okay, I get all of that. Where's the longevity in it?
Yeah.
I didn't really see it. So,
but then again, it is just a first look, really, isn't it?
Yeah, so hopefully we'll see a bit more. I mean, if they come up with some great sort of like, progressive, you've got to work your way up through the ranks like Punch-Out or something like that, and you can replay them and they've got variations of attacks, then sold, I hope they do something clever.
I think we have to wait until we see a little more, because, that is obviously a spring 2017, so it's launch window.
Launch window.
Yeah.
We're always apprehensive when we say window here at the B button, because we just know that windows can be years. But anyway, they did, however, announce a sequel to a massively beloved game on the Wii.
A real surprise hit as well.
Yeah. Splatoon 2.
Yeah.
So Nintendo announced it. What's new?
It's pretty standard fare, really. So you've got your new weapons and stages, but now they've also announced that you've got super abilities. So obviously, like with any shooter, you've got you get a kill streak or whatever. But obviously in Splatoon, it's a case of how much ink you've got around the arena.
Yep.
And then obviously once you've got the required amount, you can have access to your super ability. Obviously, it would be different for different characters, I'd imagine, or you may choose different weapons.
Yeah.
They didn't really go into much detail on that.
We saw some fat moves like mortar strikes and rain clouds of paint and all sorts of things.
It looks interesting. I've always liked the idea of Splatoon, and I love the sort of Nintendo charm of, we want to make a shooter, but we don't want to kill people.
Yeah.
Paintball? Yeah, everyone loves painting. So, I love the idea of that. I think it looks like a really great fun game, but the one thing that always held it up for me was the controls.
So I have Splatoon. I've played it for probably about a couple of hours, 2 or 3 hours, and I just got fucking sick of trying to reset the visual bit on the targeting, or trying to make it work. Just just fuck off and let me just play it. Like it's a first person. Sorry, it's a shooter. It's a third person shooter, but it is a shooter.
Yeah.
Let's just treat it like a shooter. You've got some cool weapons. You've got some really great ideas.
You've got 2 analogues.
Yeah. Fill your boots.
Yeah, just use those. People have been doing it for ages. They know what they're doing with that.
Do you know what worried me a little bit? And Splatoon was the one which Splatoon 2 was the one which kind of told me the story of what was going to happen over the next few years with the Switch. I looked at it graphically, and I went, "It's no different to the Wii U Splatoon.
No,
there's no enhancements here. They've added some new weapons. You've got some new levels, some new functionality, but this isn't like the next generation of Splatoon. This is Splatoon Point 2. Yeah, exactly that. And it then told me that effectively, and it's the same when we look at, and we'll touch more on it later on, Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Everything's going to be held back by the power of the Wii U. Sorry, not everything, but it looks like a lot of Nintendo titles are going to have to serve 2 consoles, and therefore is going to have to plateau.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, it's one of those, because of the art style, you can't. There's not really much to go beyond that. Obviously, the first one was dictated by the power of the Wii, or the Wii U, sorry. So it was obviously dictated by that, but you don't really want to go too far beyond that, because then you kind of lose in the... Whereas something like Gears, it's a realistic looking thing, so the more realistic you can make it look, the better it will be. Yeah. Whereas that, what can you add to it? It's shinier paint. The squid's tentacles are a bit more squiddish and tentacly.
I mean, you look at Mario Kart 8 compared to Mario Kart 7, it's a massive HD upgrade, and it is beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
But smooth as well.
Yeah, and that's what they could have done.
Yeah.
But I reckon Splatoon 2 will also be present on the Wii U. That's my gut feeling.
It may be.
We don't know, but that's my gut feeling. So historically, Splatoon, for me, has had issues. We've talked obviously a little bit around the targeting, but the main thing which just kind of breaks me, and has always been the issue for me on the Nintendo network full stop, is that because they underpower the network, they underpower the console because they're trying to make it cost effective, and we don't need, you don't want a super powerful machine, you just want to be able to play the games. Loading times are a pig. Getting into online games, you might as well just fuck off out the room.
I think that just might be user base though. Yeah, there's about 50 people.
Yeah, maybe. But the thing is I looked at that and I just went, do you know what? You make it too hard work for me to play the game. I can just go on Gears, or I can go on to Call of Duty or Battlefield and just GTA. Even GTA, you get one massive loading time at the beginning, then you're done.
And lots of little ones in between.
Well, if you're going into games, but if you're playing the main map, you don't. It's just, it's on.
Once you're in, you're in.
Exactly, and it's not that with Nintendo. So have they said anything about optimizing this thing and making it run smooth and better and faster?
Well, they didn't really bring much into it with the technical side of it. Hopefully this is where the work with DNA's gone. And they've really, really done a lot to try and fix this, because if they haven't, then I think that is it's a make or break for a lot of people, especially now having to pay. Yeah,
well, they're pushing this sort of network thing. They finally recognise that you can't let people play online without at least letting them in some way be in contact, even if it's just in the same game. But, anyway, we don't know about speech, we don't know all about that. We'll find out more at a later date. On to our next game, and this is potentially the second biggest game, I guess, that they're announcing.
Yeah, I would say so.
Super Mario Odyssey.
Yes. So the new proper old school Mario. Well, I say old school Mario, but sort of 64 era sandbox Mario. Yeah,
I mean, this appears very, very different to the Marios that we've experienced historically. I mean, even like you say, it has that 64 sandbox, 3D environment. But the first thing I saw was a city.
It's a metropolis.
Yeah, and Mario in it. And it didn't sit right with me. Something's not right. I mean, lots of different worlds. What was your first impressions?
I was quite excited that it looks different, and it's a change up. Because obviously, like I said, the last few releases, obviously we've had Mario Maker, Super Mario Land 3D, obviously the Wii U one, so it's very much a 2D or a sort of 2.5D.
Yep.
Mario. So it's good that they're sort of going back to that 64, because I think for me Mario 64 is the best Mario they've made, because just how each of the little levels was, like you say, its own contained world, and the amount of variations, obviously with the different stars in each of those levels, was brilliant. I absolutely loved that, and I adored the whole thing about the Mario 64. So I don't know, it's strange to see him outside of the Mushroom Kingdom, because obviously we were told that he is going to be moving on from that. Obviously he had his weird balloon spaceship thing that's travelling from area to area.
I kind of looked at it and I thought, that looks like a hat, but then as it pulled away, it looked like the back of a ship, which is typical Nintendo.
And then an airship. Because the balloon, I don't know, it's typical Nintendo madness, really. But
so one thing which I really did like about Odyssey is the fact that I love the fact that Nintendo, when they do this, they just go, do you know what? Mario's going to do something different this time. So we saw him jumping up and rolling down a hill, and they just mix it up. He's got this new quirky feature, hasn't he?
Obviously, he's got a hat with eyes.
It's got eyes.
Yeah, so he was using his hat as a platform. Obviously, probably will end up being a weapon as well. So you can obviously frisbee people.
You can frisbee people. He threw it out and then used it as a platform, as you said. Some new game mechanics, interesting stuff.
Yeah. So
running along his hat is flapping like a receding hairline.
It bobs in as he runs or as he sprints. So I think it's good that they've gone back to that kind of Mario. I think it's a long time coming, because I think a lot of people. I mean, Super Mario Sunshine was a bit disappointing for some people. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I loved the addition of the flood machine, and like Mario, it's a Mario shooter essentially. So I like that they're trying something a bit mad and a bit bonkers.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think Nintendo, there are some things with, like, you look at the Call of Duty community, they're like, fucking leave it alone. Nothing's ever been as good as Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare, and all this sort of shit. Where with Nintendo, they're just like, we are going to completely mix this up again. This time we're going on to spherical worlds, and you're going to bounce between them, and you're like, okay, and it's still great, you know?
It really, really works.
So I'm glad they're doing that. I'd just like to say now, they haven't announced it. I'm putting my money down. This is my bet. I'm saying that they're going to name the cap Cappy. It's a mix between Happy and Cap. They're going to do it,
Yeah, probably.
No, that's where I'm at. Very, very cool. Do we know a release date?
It's just holiday 2017 at the moment, so I'd imagine it'll be a big Christmas hit. Or if it slips, hopefully it doesn't, but again, holiday, you're talking anywhere, I think, from November to January,
it's
basically.
December, yeah. So, moving on a little bit now, a couple more games that they announced. Xenoblade 2 and Fire Emblem Warriors. So, what do we know about these?
Well, obviously, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is the sequel to the Wii U game, the JRPG, which got massively good reviews.
People love that game.
Obviously, they loved Xenoblade from the Wii. Obviously, this is again from Monolith Soft.
Mm-hmm.
So, it looked really, really good. I mean, it looked a bit ropey on frame rate at times.
Sure,
but again,
did.
That's just got a tentative 2017 title, and you don't know when that was taken and which iteration of the game it was taken from. So obviously it'll be optimised, and hopefully it will run solid 30.
Well, you know what you say, any tentative 2017 title means it's guaranteed for 2018.
Yeah. So, it's one of those, I'd rather it slips and it comes out solid than not.
Yeah. And what about Fire Emblem Warriors? I mean, so I didn't realise that Hyrule Warriors was doing so well.
Well, I think it's a more suitable game to take. Obviously, it's the Dynasty Warriors series.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Musou stars from Koei Tecmo, sorry.
Yep.
It's basically the same thing, but with Fire Emblem characters. So it'll obviously, with the variety of those Fire Emblem games, it's a big roster. There's a hell of a lot of people that it could utilise.
Yeah, go on, Marf. Did we see anything of this game?
No, it was just here's a guy picking up or grabbing the hilt of a sword, and then it was just a shield with 5 jewels in it.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're making it.
We've done nothing. We've done nothing on it.
Go away, because we've not even got an alpha copy yet. We've not even got it to alpha yet.
So come on then, what else have they announced?
Well, I suppose it's pretty much a case of sort of going for a run through because a lot of these just featured it was either a CG trailer or just a kind of an announcement trailer.
Yep.
But we've got Dragon Quest X and Dragon Quest XI. Obviously, they're
Awesome.
Japan only at the moment,
Not awesome.
but no region lock-in on the console.
Awesome.
So import to your heart's desire.
Import it. Take those games which are very storyline driven. Not have a fucking clue what's going on unless you're au fait with Japanese.
But a lot of them do come with English languages, surprisingly.
Shit hot. Come on.
Again, sticking with Dragon Quest, we've got Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2. That's a bundle.
Okay.
So that, again, no release dates announced or anything like that. It's just we're making it.
Yep.
Then we've got a really, really massive series, Shin Megami Tensei.
Yep.
Obviously, it's the 25th anniversary this year.
Go on, Atlas.
So obviously that's a big one. I don't think that will come out. That will ever leave Japan. Again, JRPGs are notoriously localization bastards.
Yeah.
So there's thousands and thousands of lines of Japanese to try and sort of shoehorn into an English language. So
and also the fact that there's lots and lots of acting and reacting in ways which just doesn't work in the Western society. So. Yeah, hard work.
What is that lovely affectionate term of distinctly Japanese?
Yes.
Which basically means it's really, really going to get someone into trouble if they made it over here.
Yeah, some pervy shit. Galgun. Sorry, we're on a massive tangent here. Galgun is on sale in the Sony store at the moment. And I find it so funny that it was released. I wanted to find out a bit more about it. I read the piece about some guy who's every woman finds him attractive. He has to keep him at arm's length, otherwise they drain his power as they get near to him. And then I was watching the video, and just one part of it is somebody goes into a cupboard and photographs someone's pants. Distinctly Japanese. Okay, so
moving on
topic. What else we got?
So from Square Enix, and I believe that this is the I Am Setsuna team.
Mm-hmm.
They've got Octopath or Project Octopath Traveler. And
right, really weird fucking name. This looks amazing.
Yeah, they've basically gone for a what you would traditionally look at as a SNES or an old PS1 JRPG, so it's very pixelated, but everything was 3D.
Final Fantasy S turn-based RPG.
Yeah, but it was all built in 3D, but with the same art style as the old Final Fantasy 4 and 6 and all of those ones.
Pixelated.
It looks amazing.
Looks really, really good. Can't wait to see how that develops.
Obviously, we had Sega turned up.
Yeah, Sega.
And it was a guy who had a pipe round his neck that looked like he'd probably been smoking before. And just turned up just to say, we think it's really exciting. We're going to make some games.
Yeah,
maybe,
please go watch the conference, because this guy showed up with a black t-shirt on, a black jacket on top, and then just looks like he's got his own pimped out, chromed out crack pipe hanging around his neck. Just came in and went, we're really excited about this and we're going to do stuff. And we're like, cool. And he was like, bye.
See you later.
That was amazing.
It was pretty much it.
Absolutely amazing.
Then we saw old Todd-san. Todd Howard from Bethesda in a video, obviously confirming Skyrim. We saw it in the announcement trailer back in October. Everyone was like, oh my god, Skyrim. Obviously everyone said that it's not been confirmed. Yeah. No one said shit. Calm yourselves down, because it could just be a sizzle reel just to represent what we want. But no, he's come out and they've definitely confirmed it.
What made me laugh is listening to Todd Howard. He basically said, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank Nintendo
for allowing us.
Yeah. And do you know what I thought? Actually, you're a saving grace for Nintendo, because you're actually demonstrating that somebody should try and take this console seriously and put real games on there. And two, you've got nothing but sunk costs. This thing is spent. You've done all your development on this. You've run this game to the fucking hilt. You've done all your DLC. You're done. And then somebody said, hey, we're about to launch a new console and we want to use your game as one of the flagship titles to ship this fucker.
Money for old rope?
Fancy some free cash? Really want to thank Nintendo for... Yeah, I bet you fucking do.
Allowing us the opportunity to sell the same game we've sold you twice before now for a third time.
I'm really...
Because you can take it with you.
Yeah.
I played the thing to death. I don't need to take it with me.
Yeah, and I haven't got that much time when I'm out on the go to play it, especially with that shitty battery life.
Yeah. Oh, God, Skyrim, yeah. Oh, I'm just going to go and battle this dragon. I'm just going to make my way to this thing here. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, go on, buy the game that we've sold you before. But anyway, enough about Super Mario Kart Deluxe. I was on a different subject there. FIFA, EA showed up, didn't they?
Yeah.
Came on stage, just basically said, do you know what, we're doing FIFA, it's out there, you're gonna...
Unfortunately, the only thing is, it sounds like it's not just going to be a port of the FIFA that you get on Xbox One or PS4.
No.
It's going to be built ground up for the Switch. Oh, God.
Which means either you haven't got enough buttons and we're going to have to shoehorn it into those controllers, or we expect you to use a touchscreen now, which means you can't really play it socially.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know.
But...
I just get the horrors of Pro Evolution Soccer on the Wii U, where you had this horrible... I just want to play Pro Evo. I didn't have an Xbox. I didn't have a PS3. I had a Wii. And I had to use the Wiimote to point where I wanted... I just want to pass it to a guy. Can't I just use the analog?
Don't work.
I've done in all the previous ones.
No.
So I'm really... Well, I don't play FIFA anyway, so I couldn't give a shit. But
yeah.
I'm really worried that it is just going to be this really crappy, inferior version of FIFA, and everyone's going to go, why would I... Yeah, I can take it with me, but
the main thing which worried me the most about that announcement was the fact that it's EA.
Yeah.
Just fucking EA, frankly.
Well, and it's only FIFA. Well, I mean, I know obviously it's one of the biggest selling games and it's one of the most popular games around the world, but you'd like to have thought, we're looking at bringing some other titles to it as well.
Yeah.
But it was, no, we're just going to bring FIFA. You can have FIFA now, fuck off.
Not great.
I think my favourite one, though, was Suda51. Because that guy's just batshit.
Honestly, if he's as mad as they fucking... Like, mad as a bag of frogs. This guy is fucking loopy. Suda51 basically showed up and opened with some crazy fucking...
Kabuki,
like, Damon-esque stance. Like, sort of thing. We're like, what? And he was like, that didn't really work.
I love how he sort of just like... Yeah, I realised that was horribly cringy. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah.
That didn't work at all.
Then he did it at the end. Suda51, the guy's fucking batshit. For those who don't know, Suda51 was a guy who did Killer 7, and it was the most fucking gory, batshit crazy game on the Cube.
It was bizarre.
It was
absolutely
really
bizarre.
Really
obviously,
weird.
He obviously oversaw Let It Die, the PS4 game that's just been out recently, and that's again batshit. And he also did No More Heroes. So obviously he was just talking a bit about Travis Touchdown is going to return in a game. Didn't say it was No More Heroes 3. And then he also was talking about it's going to be a mixture of, like, it's inspired by pro wrestling.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's Suda51, so it's just...
It's going to be nuts.
Who knows?
I mean, Suda51's the kind of guy, if you said, can you paint that wall? He'd show up with some boxing gloves covered in paint and then punch that wall to paint. You know, it's like, that's not how you do it, Suda.
Roll up a dog and sort of just watch him dribble down the wall
and
stuff like that.
What are you doing? But anyway, I'm glad to see him still active because just for the sheer, like, what the fuck has he done now sort of element. I love it.
I can't wait to see what he comes up with.
Yeah. Good stuff. Right. I'm gonna drop the biggie now.
I think they did. It finished well, and it finished on the right note.
I'm just gonna say out loud 6 words: Legend of Zelda: Breath of... Well, I mean, I need another word. The Wild. This is a big announcement, big show and tell on this.
Well, this was the one that worried me the most, and reports and rumours over the last month or so. Yeah,
so we heard and we reported on this recently in the podcast that basically the people who were doing the localization of Zelda basically said, we're behind.
Yeah.
This isn't a small job.
obviously this was for the European market.
For the European market, yeah, we're behind. This isn't a small task. This usually takes between 9 months or so. We're at August, September, whatever now. We're all sitting there thinking, come on, we know it's a March release, and if you do the maths on what you're saying,
it's not making it.
You're not, we're looking at a month behind, maybe more of the release date. So what did they say?
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Fucking right on!
3rd of March.
Launch title, baby.
Launch title, yes.
Shit hot. And by the way, in the launch window, that's the launch title, by the way, is when it comes out either the same day or same week. This, we saw it. This looks epic. This looks unbelievable. I mean, I'm just wading in here right now, but I was so fucking excited to see this. This looks like a fully fledged. We're putting on a 3DS, so we're having to limit it. We're putting on this, so we're putting it back on this. This looks graphically phenomenal. It looks epic vistas, epic gameplay. It's just huge. This game looks massive.
Well, they've talked about that they wanted to recapture the spirit of the first one, and obviously that sense of adventure where you could, if you wanted to, go up to Ganon straight away, or the head boss and the last boss, you could go up and try and beat him with fucking nothing but a bloody net.
Yeah,
you could. And there was this wonderful openness about the world. So they've tried to go back to those roots, and looking, obviously it was a new trailer release. We saw a lot more detail on characters, areas. We saw a variety of, obviously you had your mountains, your desert, your sort of oceans and lakes. It just looked phenomenal. I mean, we've seen obviously the Gorons are back, the Koroks are back, the Zorans.
Yeah.
Trying to think, there was that dude with a shark head. The bird guys, I can't remember what they were called from
Skyward Sword.
Yeah.
There's just lots and lots and lots in there, and when I looked at it, I thought it generally felt like the next, I was saying, Splatoon. There's no progression there. It's the previous game, just there's more maps and more guns or whatever. But the crux of it is they've taken the same engine and done it well, not just graphically, but everything feels enhanced about Zelda, and it feels like something that they're not taking anything away. They've just made it more, and I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much word for word agree with you there. The sheer scale of it for me, it just looks huge. The world itself, like you say, the characters look brilliant and rich. There's voice acting. I mean, the one thing that you can always say Zelda's had is heart. But it's never really had emotion.
No.
Obviously, there are emotional scenes and all that, but you could never really convey the news across.
Most of the things you get are...
there was full voice acting, proper orchestral score. I mean, it looks like an epic game.
I was a bit surprised at seeing Zelda getting all emotional and crying into Link's arms and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they've really worked on a story that should hopefully be a bit different than your standard Zelda fare. I mean, if you look at the Zelda timeline, it's this massively convoluted thing. I mean, Nintendo themselves tried to sort of put some semblance and put it in a timeline, so you've got obviously different various offshoots and this, that and the other. So obviously no doubt that after this there'll be thousands and thousands of people on Reddit arguing about where it sits in the timeline and all of this bollocks. But for me, it ticked every box.
I completely agree.
I mean, graphically it looks great. Yes, it may not be the most amazing looking game out there, but it looks unbelievable. It looks stunning in the same way that you looked at Noni Kuni, and it just looks unbelievable. You're like, this can't be running. This can't be a video game.
Yeah.
This has got to be an animation or it's pre-rendered. No, everything was running full in-engine. It looked phenomenal. Like you say, the various ways and the differences in how you can attack people and...
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was even things like you say, some of the action scenes. So, he fires a bow and arrow at a barrel to make it explode. Now, in any typical Zelda games from the past, yes, there's explosive barrels there. Yeah, you can hit them and it kills an enemy, but it kills an enemy. Where in this one, he hit a barrel and it's sort of a chain reaction taking out a camp of enemies. And I was like...
The best one wasn't it, no? Because he's fired it into the middle of them. He's got an exploding thing and it's just set the fucking lot off.
Yeah, And I was just like, that looks amazing. You never had that in Zelda games before. You know, character styles, you know, how they've enhanced what the Gorons look like. You've got all the typical bits where the fairy just spins up out of the fountain.
Like you said,
but it's a more detailed version, it's a prettier version, it's more developed, it's more produced, it's just wow.
Phenomenal. I think, like you say, you've got all of the nostalgic elements of a classic Zelda, and of all of the things that were great about the first one. Even the second one had its moments. Link to the Past was brilliant. I mean, there's that one shot in the thing where, do you remember the cover? Or sorry, on that there was that picture in the manual for the SNES one, the Link to the Past, where you had the Master Sword in the forest, and then you had that same scene in that same vista, and it's just
one of the things I really like that recently they did a little a teaser for it, and they released an image, and the image was Link on a cliff top, bended knee, sword held back in his hand, looking over the forest, just like the original Zelda.
I was going to say,
and I was like, that's brilliant, guys. Well done. Yeah. Well done.
Well, I think that we obviously mentioned it earlier, that they really have tried to capture that original's essence. And I mean, looking at it, all I could think was, where do I put my monies?
So my final point on Breath of the Wild was, I didn't get an opportunity to watch the presentation live. So I ended up watching a YouTube recording of it, and as I was watching it sporadically, adverts were due to pop up. The first one which popped up, and it interrupted the beginning of the Mario Odyssey clip. And I was like, what the hell is going on here? And it was for Breath of the Wild, and it was the full video that they showed at the end of the presentation with English voiceover, and I was gobsmacked all the way through it, and I watched it all, and I was like, it looks amazing, looks amazing, looks amazing. And right at the end, it went 3rd of the 3rd, 2017, and the first words out of my mouth was, you've just sold a console. Sold, I'm buying that thing immediately, and hoofed it down to game today, put my deposit down on the Switch, put my deposit down on the deluxe super duper ultra. You get a little Master Sword figurine version of Breath of the Wild. Done. Done. Amazing. So anyway, software all looking pretty good. Bit of a long podcast, but there's a couple more questions I just want to sort of fling your way because I want to get your thoughts on it. We've now seen the Switch. We know what it's all about. It's very imminent. It's a month and a half away. Good. What's it done to the Wii U? Is it still relevant?
No.
Okay. And no, I think that's a very valid answer. The answer is no. I looked at mine and I went, am I getting rid of this now? And I'm not, because there's some games on there that I have that I want to play. I like being able to play Super Punch-Out, stuff like that. But fuck buying anything on the Wii U anymore.
No, that's it. Like you say, that Zelda trailer, that was the only thing that would keep you on the Wii U. That trailer, no, final nail in the coffin for me. Because you're thinking, I can get that game that I can play at home like I would on the Wii U, but then I can when I've got to go on the bus and go to work, I can take it with me and carry on playing, and then miss my stop and end up in God knows where.
Without any battery charge.
Well, but you know, most buses have USB charge points on them now, so
or as I like to call them, switch points.
Yes.
So that's all very well and good. The one thing also which kind of pushes it over the edge for me is there are now rumblings and rumours that it runs better on the Switch than it does
I
on
wouldn't
the
be
Wii U.
surprised. We'll go back
high resolution, I should say.
Going back to the E3 when obviously they showed it off, and there was a lot of details from it and for it. They did say that they did get a bit ropey in parts, but looking at how good it looked, that people were quite accepting. They're like, it's doing a hell of a lot, and this is a Wii U. The fact that it looks this good.
Yeah, and it is a Wii U.
So but yeah, I don't think anybody that's serious about the game and has got the money to buy it will buy it on the Wii U. I think for me it's definitely a day one.
Wii U's done. Wii U is done.
Yeah.
Does the Switch make you rethink 3DS's position now in the market?
No, because I think they've always obviously gone on the thing that they are separate entities, they're a different pillar, as they like to say. And I think that 3DS has got its own place because of the twin screen, and it offers a different variety of game styles. So I think it's still got its place. I think that's where you'll go to find sort of really quirky little cheeky like the 3DS shop. You get some really weird little batshit crazy games on there.
Yeah, and I also like the fact, I mean, the main reason...
That you can play it for more than 6 hours.
I was going to say, the main reason why I'm going to use my 3DS is because it's got some battery life.
Well, but once the Switch runs out, I'll get the 3DS out.
And play a real portable console. But also, the other thing I like about a 3DS is that it's not really powerful. So when they want to make a Mario game for it, they can't port anything onto it. They have to make a bespoke game. And it makes them creative, and it makes them do something good.
Yeah, that's what I loved about the DS. And it was because everyone was raving that it wasn't as powerful as the PSP, but
that's right.
You know, what's sold 120 million units around the world? Was it the PSP? No, because people didn't give a shit about the power. They give a shit about the games, and the games were fun.
Do you know what? I'm one of these people who own a PSP, own a Vita at the moment, all this sort of stuff, and contrary to what you say, I do give a shit about the power. Problem is, I've got all this power and nothing to fucking run on it. Where the 3DS is supported, it's got so many games out there, and every handheld Nintendo console has always got fucking loads of games, and that's why my Vita hasn't even got any dust on it, because it's still in the protective case, sealed away, doing fuck all.
Yeah.
Oh well, okay. No, I agree with you. I think the 3DS will still be absolutely fine. Overall, what did you reckon to the presentation?
I mean, one thing I am looking forward to is the second generation of games, because now obviously people will have kits, they're just getting to grips with it. Obviously we'll see a few little quirky bits and bobs and they're going to try out stuff, but like with any new console and any new generation, it's the second generation of games that's really going to make you go wow. And once they've got to grips with it, and it's that lot of games that I'm really looking forward to, sort of like say massively jumping ahead of myself now, but it's next year's E3. I'm really looking forward to that, to seeing what's in store and ahead for the Switch, because I mean I've always been fairly excited. Once we read that Eurogamer report, I mean I was just like, yeah, I'm pretty sold on the idea. I like the idea of that. I mean, hearing of the functionality of the Rumble controllers, I am not as worried for Nintendo as I was.
I'm not, yeah.
However, there are a few things that have got me worried. Prices of software. I mean, we're going back to the old school SNES days where you're paying 60 quid. I mean, Zelda is 60 quid for just a standard edition.
Yeah.
What's it? It's not even a game, it's just have some party. Here's a party compilation. It's 40 quid. Sorry, the 1-2 Switch.
Yeah.
That's 40 quid. And it's not even a game, really.
No.
You're not even. There's nothing on the screen other than fire.
Yeah, you save money. You're not putting shit on the screen, so you know.
Yeah, don't bend me over for it. Battery life could be a problem for some. Again, hopefully it's closer to the 6 hours than it is the 2.5.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think if I take it out anywhere, I'm just immediately going to expect that I'm going to have to be looking for a port to charge it, because...
No, you just have to obtain some of the wares of the company Anker. They make really good battery packs. Really good. Like sort of 20,000 milliamp ones, so you can charge like 5 iPads off of it. So yeah, it's just invest in one of them bad boys.
Other battery providers are available.
They are available, but they're generally not as good. Or
they might not be. I'm trying to keep us on the politically correct line.
I want a free fucking battery pack here.
Come on, Anchor. All right, so I guess just one final question, I guess, and final thought for me is, are you going to get it day one? I mean, you know me, the deposit kid. I'm down. In fact, I stood at Game today and I was like, are you taking deposits yet? Yes. Is it day one release? Yes. Okay, one more question for you. Is it a day one console release?
Guaranteed.
Yeah. Yes. You can have my money.
Yes.
So, what about you?
I'm still a bit up in arms. I mean, if I am going to get it day one, there's literally only one game that's going to get me interested in buying the system.
Same for me.
That's once you switch. No, it's obviously Zelda.
Yeah.
But again, it's the thing that really worries me is not obviously it's the third party support. Will it be there? Obviously not for Call of Duty and all of that shit that I can play that will be better on the Xbox or the PlayStation 4. It's for, will there just be third party support with some new IPs or just some really interesting games?
But, one thing which did make us both feel better about it is that Atlas have said, hey, check this out. There's Unreal Engine 4 on the Switch.
Well, obviously, Epic have come out and said that the Unreal Engine 4 supports the Switch.
But, Atlas is the first people to actually demonstrate it.
And Unity as well. So there's a lot of opportunities for games to port. So, all in all, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. It's just now thinking about whether I want to drop that Spondoolies and get that.
It's quite a pricey Nintendo console. Quite pricey.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, there we go, folks. A mammoth podcast, but it's Nintendo's fault. They just gave us so much to talk about. So, any final thoughts, Link?
I need to go and get a limited edition copy with the Master Sword.
Damn right.
Even if I don't get a Switch.
Yeah. Okay, so there it is, folks. From Angry Link, it's
goodbye.
And for me, it's Auf Wiedersehen.